What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the 20 into 30 podcast. You're joining myself, Luke Bradley, my co-host, Martin, as always, and our special guest for the second time, Hayley. Hayley, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you guys doing?
You obviously liked the Christmas quiz and thought you'd come back in already within January. You didn't have much of a gap before you having to put up with me and Martin again.
I couldn't wait. I was literally like, get me back on that show.
Get me back on that show. Well, there we go, Martin. So you're going to be nice to Hayley this time, yeah?
I was nice last time. I'm just happy it's not a quiz because it's not like I'm salty about the last one or anything, but just happy it's not another quiz.
You only lost out by one last time.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, maybe have a rivalry that's going to just go on forever. Started with Uno, carried on into quizzes.
I feel like the fact that Hayley...
We played the Antler game. She beat me at that as well.
Oh, yeah. I feel like Hayley won by 1 point, which makes it worse because you could have sung a song and got 5 points, which means if you had done that, Hayley would have lost by 4 points.
I feel like you totally just had it in that game anyway, and you were just like, I'm going to mess with you.
I don't know.
Mess your day up.
I feel like just Hayley explained her answers a lot better. And
probably.
That's what pipped it at the end of the day.
You can't be given 100%. You've got to give 110%, Martin.
I'm going to give 110%.
I felt like you were giving more like 65%.
I mean,
70.
I feel I gave a bit. Yeah, I'd say 70. Yeah, 70 is probably a good round number for me to say I gave.
Hayley, how was your Christmas?
Yeah, well, it was nice. I did have COVID, which wasn't the best.
I heard you told me you had COVID. How? When did you get COVID?
I think it must have been like the weekend before Christmas. So started showing signs on the Monday, and then obviously Friday was Christmas Day.
Right.
When I got confirmed. So yeah, it wasn't the best Christmas, but at the same time, it was nice just to spend time with the immediate family. So I can't complain. How was yours?
Do you know where you got it, or do you think you know where you got it, or?
Do you know what? I'm not too sure, which is a little bit worrying. I'm guessing.
Little smirk on your face there, Hayley. Got a secret behind that, hey? Hey, she's like, no idea. No idea.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've got amnesia. That's one of the symptoms and side effects.
Forgetfulness. What? We'll forget the sign that Martin just did. Completely inappropriate, Martin. Please don't do that again. Lucky it's not a video podcast. However, what signs and symptoms do you have?
So it started with a sore throat. You definitely get a temperature. Aches and pains. Start getting like nasal sort of. It starts to hurt your nose really bad, and yeah, it's just like a really heavy flu. But as well, you can't taste and you can't smell things. So Christmas Day, I was eating my dinner and I was just like, the texture is amazing. Like the texture is spot on. But you just can't get the good flavours.
The rest of it you can't taste.
Texture. That's a nice texture.
Gotta love that texture. But my nan's got it now. She's 86 and she's a tough old broad, but she's got like the main thing, like the no taste, the no smell. She's got the aches and pains and everything, but obviously, like I was saying to her, like make sure you're eating and everything and drinking and stuff. And she is trying, but she's like, everything's just so boring because obviously you can't taste nothing.
No, exactly, and that's the one thing that we could look forward to this Christmas. You're thinking, right, I can't go out, go out and see everybody and get drunk in the same way, and then you think it's okay, food will comfort me, and then they took that way. Bloody COVID.
Put this stuff away. If I was in your position, I probably would have been absolutely livid.
Martin, are you happy?
I can taste stuff.
Are you happy that Hayley's recovered, Martin, or?
Yes, I am.
Are you sure?
I just would have been livid if I was in her position. I wouldn't have COVID's taken everything away, and now it took Christmas dinner away too. It's like a bad movie.
Martin's bitter that you didn't get COVID whilst we were recording prior to recording the Christmas quiz.
Hey, what? That wouldn't have stopped her though. Probably she would have still beat my ass.
Should have still beat you. No, we're both very happy that you're back on track and you're joining us on the second. We're going to call it the Hayley Show. We'll call it the Hayley Show. That is it, because that's how we roll on this show. But today, this is a coffee chat episode, and we're going to be talking a bit about space. Now, I know I love a bit of space. mostly away from Martin, if I'm honest. But the space that we're talking about at the moment is space out there in the big abyss. So, Martin, normally you're quite into space.
I like space.
But obviously, I know, Hayley, we've spoken about space before, but bear with us, guys, because we aren't scientists. We're just not. We're just not.
Yeah, probably best to put that disclaimer out there. We're not scientists. We're not astrophysicists. We're not nothing about it. This is just random stuff.
We're just gonna shoot the shit, basically, and have a little exploration on the 20 into 30 podcast bus into the solar system. Now, it sounds exciting. Hopefully it will be. Martin's on the show, so it might not be. But what I want to talk about first, because I was watching a documentary earlier, was the moon landing. That's the first thing I want to go, because we're on a bus. We can't just jump to the furthest part. First, we're stopping off at the moon. So we got on the bus, and we're at the moon, Martin, and we're trying to find out whether Neil Armstrong actually landed on the moon. But before we get there, we're talking to each other. And what do you think? Do you think we went to the moon?
I want to say yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff like where people like conspiracy theories and stuff, but I want to say yeah. I'd like to think yeah. They tried to prove it on Mythbusters if they could have faked it, like, and I think they come up with like probably could have done, but I'm going to say yeah, because apparently if you get a strong enough telescope, you can see the lander and his footprints on the moon.
But could that not be faked potentially?
No, I mean, unless they went up there and put the lander on there and then go and put some footprints up there, they may as well have just sent someone up there.
Yeah, but they could send a rocket, no?
They could what?
At that time or not? Because
that's one of the things, isn't it? Whether they did it at the time they said.
It gets into crazy conspiracy theories when you get like this now. Like, did they go? Did they not go? I mean, I could get why it could be a conspiracy theory and why they didn't go. The whole idea of it was like to say they went, or they were planning on going, and they wanted to say they went to try and bankrupt the Russians at the time, because it was like it's the Cold War and all that jazz, wasn't it?
What do you reckon, Hayley? Did we go to the moon or did we not go to the moon? Yay or nay?
You know what? I'm torn in that half of me wants to think that they went to the moon. My heart thinks, yeah, that's amazing. But then I do question the fact, why is it we couldn't go for so many years afterwards? And if we did manage to have a successful trip, then surely it's something we would have invested more money into and then obviously been able to make substantial progress with. So my thoughts is, although I'd like to think yes, the skeptical in me probably thinks not. And I do think that it's probably they were trying to beat the Russians out to try and get back for the clout. They wanted to be like, yep, we're better than you after everything else that's happened. So yeah, I probably think no.
So the theory with the Russians were obviously there was the disagreements with them, and one of the main sort of hoax reasons behind that was that by convincing everybody that we're going to the moon, obviously the Russians would want to get there before us, before America, and therefore it would result in bankrupting the Russians or reducing the amount of money they had to spend on any sort of war efforts, basically.
Pretty much. But then I reckon like they probably haven't gone back there, because once they've gone there and got some samples and all that jazz, like they have gone there since the moon landing. There's been like other people on the moon, but
12 people in total.
Really, yeah. But once they got like all the samples and stuff, they can do all the tests, and with the technology now, they can pretty much scan and do everything with the moon from here. There's no real reason to go back there. I mean, if they want to set up like a little research colony sort of thing, it would just be too expensive with the technology we've got now. So that's probably why they haven't gone back there. If they did go there, which I want to say they did, but it's just not worth going back at the moment. That's why they haven't been back.
So one of the reasons
beneficial.
Well, one of the reasons would be to go back would be to make space travel cheaper, because obviously loading our rockets and everything in space is cheaper.
Yeah, like a launch point.
Like a launch pad, yeah, basically. Like a base just to really go out further into the solar system.
Sort of like that film they had with Brad Pitt where they went to the moon first and launched deep space missions from the moon.
Yeah. So my question would be to Hayley. Now, obviously, I'm not going to tell you where I sit on it at the moment, but if they faked it, right, why has it not come out yet that it's faked? Because if you go on the theory of it was to bankrupt the Russians, let's say, and obviously the Russians went there and orbited. Basically the Russians did report that America had been to the moon. Now, obviously, if they hadn't and they found any evidence to say that they hadn't, that would have I feel that would have been everywhere.
Yeah, they would have chucked that right out there.
I do think though that because of the time that the Americans supposedly went to the moon, I'm even going to say that, and technology available, I think that the Russians probably would have struggled to have technology to analyze the video, to make certain assessments. I mean, obviously, when you start looking at NASA and obviously their base there, they are capable of doing exactly what they said they have done. So it's almost like they've got all the credentials to back it up. And who's to say that they didn't actually send someone into space? But who was there to really say that they managed to land? I mean, I think that could perhaps be the thing. Obviously, perhaps they sent a rocket up and they managed to. They sent a rocket up and they also managed to make the tape. I think that's probably a possibility. I don't think, obviously.
You've also got obviously that they could have gone, but they didn't go when they said they went. They went like years later, but obviously they didn't want to seem like they got there later than they said they went there.
You know, that's probably what I think happened. But like you say, if the footprints are there and everything else is there, great. But I think there was an emergency, or there was an urgency when they were trying to make it happen, because there was so much tension building between the two. And obviously America really saw itself as a superpower at the time. They wanted to ensure that they concrete themselves as being like the first in the world to do something like that. America's great, all that sort of thing.
I think maybe there was like a race to get to space and sort of have a base, as it were, in space, and then everyone was like, "Oh, actually, this costs a lot more than we expected. Let's just."
They were so together and made the International Space Station and all that jazz.
And then they were like, "This actually costs so much more than we thought it was going to cost that we can't keep funding this. So what we'll do is let's set up a base together in the end, and let's work towards it. Maybe that, I think we probably did go to the moon, and I hope that we went to the moon. But I do think, and I just think for the fact of the amount of people that were involved in going to the moon, everybody in NASA, the fact that the Russians would have loved to say that the Americans didn't go to the moon. I think, what are we now, 40 years on from it? How long ago was the moon landing now?
See something, I think.
But anyway, all these years later, I think it would have come out.
All the stuff will be declassified from it soon anyway. I think. Because I think it's a certain amount of years that like all their information has to be like classified for. That's why there's so much stuff from that sort of era that's starting to become more readily available now, because it's all been declassified, because it's been classified for so long. And now when they after it's been like so many years, it like if anyone found out about it, it doesn't really matter, so they just declassify it.
The problem you have is they declassify, but the only words that you get are like "and it" on the. Everything else is cut out, isn't it?
They declassify, and you find out that they did go to the moon, but they did a secret mission on the dark side of the moon.
Well, so another big conspiracy theory was that the Nazis didn't actually get defeated. That they went to their technology was far superior, and they're currently living on the dark side of the moon. Yeah,
there's a movie as well.
Is it?
NASA were actually looking to hire specialists when they were looking to create the rockets, and as such, they ended up hiring a lot of Nazi Germans.
They did.
They did. Most of the rockets.
Exactly.
Were from Nazi scientists.
They took our space program as well, because the Americans' rockets kept on exploding. They couldn't get any of their rockets to work, and the Russians' rockets were working. So they took over our space program and got a load of. Like most of their scientists were German anyway from the war that they had. I don't know what the right word is.
Moved them across.
They forcefully hired from the war. So, when they say the Americans did it, really us and the Germans did it for America. So, but they don't want to talk about that.
What was the movie? Was the movie, sorry, that they said the Nazis went to the dark side of the moon?
I think it's called Iron Skies.
Right, okay.
And they find out that there's Nazis on the dark side of the moon. One of those super far-fetched things.
one of the cool things is imagine in like another 40 years that you can just travel to the moon, like you can travel to like Australia, right? Imagine that, right? And you go there, and there's a box, like a glass box, and it's like just covering Neil Armstrong's first footprint, and you could go there and see it. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, it would be
I
cool.
mean, you wouldn't really need a glass box to cover it, right?
No,
or you
but
probably need to stop people
Exactly.
messing with it.
That's
Yeah,
this
probably.
is it, yeah. It's got to be protected. So like at the moment, obviously, it would look pretty much the same as it did before. But if we were there, someone's going to come along and go, oh, he's got the same size foot as me. Put his foot in it or something. We're like, that's not Neil's, that's Derek's from Romford's foot. Look, what a mess. Not okay.
It's like what Fry did in Futurama, where he found Neil Armstrong's fingers. Like, ha! I got a bigger shoe than him.
Yeah, exactly. Someone would do it, and then be like,
they would.
It would ruin it. But that would be quite cool. Do you imagine? Do you thinking like, I don't know what, like, how long do you think it will be until like we can, like, your general public can do like space travel?
Well, actually, isn't Richard Branson obviously looking to make Virgin go to the moon? And obviously, it's in development. Obviously, at this point, it will probably be for millionaires. It will be catering to that 1% of the world. Yeah. But he's looking to make that a much more accessible trip and journey for the general public.
I think it depends how much technology keeps moving along. It's coming along faster and faster.
Yeah, it all speeds up. It all speeds up because creating the next bit of technology is easier with the initial bit of technology. It does speed it up.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're wanting to do like a manned mission to Mars sometime soon, and now they're talking about doing manned missions to Titan as well.
Yeah, I think in our lifetime we could
send probes and stuff there first, but Titan would take way too long, I think, to send people to, because I think it takes like 9 years to get there or something like that.
Wait, so is Titan supposed? It's a moon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the Saturn's moons, I think. Saturn's or Jupiter's, one of the moons.
I was just saying, if it's Jupiter's, it would take forever to get to, because obviously that's right on the outside.
Yeah, I think it's one of Saturn's. Titan's one of Saturn's moons. I think it's Saturn's larger moon, but it's got an atmosphere and stuff. And they recently found a molecule in the atmosphere, which is like one of the building blocks of life. And they reckon there's like water underneath the surface and stuff. And because it's got an atmosphere, they think like something could be alive there. And they're planning to send like new rovers there, but it's like not like the Mars rover. They're more like drones, so they fly, and they can fly them all around Titan to explore and stuff, and take photos and take samples and stuff, and do all sorts of cool sciencey stuff.
Oh, wicked! Love that.
I reckon Titan would be a better place to make a colony rather than Mars, because it's got
Mars is quiet, isn't it?
Yeah, and Titan's got an actual atmosphere which would like block most of the sun's radiation and stuff, whereas Mars doesn't. You would get baked.
Yeah. Well, of course, Mars's atmosphere ended up disappearing because obviously their core was so small in comparison to Earth's. It wasn't enough to keep the lava wasn't keeping moving in the middle, which meant that it didn't project out the sort of, what is it?
Magnetic field.
Thank you. Exactly.
So the
atmosphere and everything else is just stripped away. But yeah, I think Mars would be a great place for humans to go and learn more about what was there, because I know we have a good understanding of it, but I think you probably learn so much more from visiting it or having people go and visit.
Have you ever seen the shape of Mars's moon? It looks well weird. It's like a weird squished potato.
That was it.
Yeah, odd.